I'm bored. I've been reading this book for 10 days. I don't want to talk about it. I'm like living, laughing, and loving and dying. Like there's all this shit, like it's stupid. I love a good torture scene. I called it. It took me a while, but I called it. So there's like drama and fighting. Ooh, it was a good scene. It was a good scene. Oh, Jesus. I don't care. Excuse me. Chapter 12? Am I supposed to see what's coming? Because I don't. Things have taken a turn. I feel like I've been reading this book for 16 years. Oh my God, what is happening? Forgive me, Lord, for I have sinned. We have all seen every single review under the sun for this book. At this point, it is oversaturated, but it's my turn. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we are going to find out what I think about Iron Flame. This was a journey. This was a roller coaster. I'm about to show you the good, the bad, and the sexy in this video. But before we go any further, I am warning you right now, if you have not read this book and you intend to, I love you so much, but you gotta go. If you have not read this book yet, thank you so much for watching, but this video is over for you because I am about to spoil the ever-loving crap of this book. Are you gone? Okay. Now, if you haven't read this book and you don't have any intention, this video is absolutely for you because I basically tell you the entire premise from beginning to end, more or less. And if you have read this book, I'm going to ask that you be kind to me while I go on this journey because like I said, there's some good, there's some bad, there's some sexy, there's some ugly. It was a full-on roller coaster of emotions. I almost DNF'd this book. I also swooned so hard I couldn't breathe with this book. I also just feel the need to mention, we talk about some bedroom times in this vlog. Not in detail, but if my family is watching, earmuffs, okay? It's just a book. It's not real. If that makes you uncomfy, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. But it's Aiden's fault, honestly. Get ready, because it's about to be a spoilery good time. I think I started with 4 hours of footage, so you're welcome that I managed to get it down this slow, but she's still long. So sit back, relax, and watch me have the most incoherent, chaotic, spiraling thoughts for the next hour. Travel back in time with me. We're gonna rewind the clock, okay, to when this book arrived on my doorstep and I decided to reread Fourth Wing in order to prepare myself. We're going back a few weeks. Stick with me. It'll be worth it. I promise. Enjoy. Good morning, friends. I'm about to leave the house, so this is a very quick update. I'm about to go head to the Upper West Side to get my nails done. While I do this, I am planning on trying to finish Fourth Wing. I am rereading Fourth Wing on audiobook. I have some questions that I want answered. Was I delusional the first time I read this? Did I fall for the hype? I've seen so many positive reviews of this book, and I read this book so quickly because I was just jumping on that hype train and I just wanted to be part of the story. Looking back now, I've seen some negative comments, negative reviews, I've seen some critiques. I want to make sure that I'm not crazy and that I did indeed enjoy that book, which I think I did. I'm pretty sure I did, like regardless of whether it's a good book, you know, literally, I know I had a good time reading it. At the end of the day, when I rate books, that's how I rate them. Is this like the great literary masterpiece of our time? No, of course it's not. But if I had a good time reading it, if I enjoyed myself, then I feel that it deserves a high rating. That's how I rate my books. Some people may disagree with me. Some people rate based on merit itself, but that's just not me. Let's wait for the sirens. Sometimes I swear they drive so slow. Like, isn't it an emergency? Anyway, so obviously I'm not gonna finish it while I'm out, but I'm hoping I can finish it today because I'm just dying to dive into Iron Flame. I feel like this is like a hurdle I need to get through in order to get there. So far, I'm having a good time with it. I'm hoping that continues, and I'm hoping I can bang this out today. I'm gonna go deal with this. I'm gonna go listen to that. When I get home, we will chat. It is 8 o'clock, so it is much later, and I owe you an update. The nails are done. I feel like myself again, back to normal, and I can type again, and I can text again. Things are just going well. More importantly, what we're all really here for, Fourth Wing, which I finished my reread of. Thank God. I just have been binge listening all day. Thoughts? I'm not gonna lie to you, I feel like I had as much fun with it as I did the first time around. I've said it before and I will say it again. This is not a well-crafted book. It is not a fantastically written book, but it is so much fun. It is angsty, it is dragony, it is all of the tropes that you love to see in the classic, like especially YA, but classic fantasies. This is not a Brandon Sanderson, and anyone looking for something that's Brandon Sanderson level is just gonna be disappointed. Like, I'm sorry, it's just, that's not what this is, okay? This is a angsty, romancy, political-ish, silly, but so entertaining fantasy. And if that is all you're looking for, then you're gonna have a good time with this. If there's anyone out there who still has not read this, which is unlikely, but that would be the person that I would recommend this to, is somebody who's not looking for super complex high fantasy with major world building and stakes. If somebody's just looking for a good time with some fantastical elements like dragons, this is a good time. However, I originally gave this 5 stars. On Goodreads, I am going to leave it at 5 stars because there is no 0.5. But I'm gonna deduct 0.5 stars from this. Ever since reading and rating this book, I've been struggling with my rating just because it's not that I feel like I was too generous, but I do think that I ignored some major red flags because I was having so much fun. The biggest of which, to me, is the ending of this book. It was an incredible letdown. Now, that could be because so many people said how incredible and twisty and shocking it was. I watched so many videos of people literally reading the last page with like this gobsmacked, did I just say gobsmacked? With this like shocked face on, like they could not believe what they just read. And was it shocking? I guess, but it wasn't something that I haven't seen before. It wasn't something that I didn't see coming. And it wasn't something that was like a new level of amazing. It was just okay. It was just okay. Of everything in the book, that is a very small percentage. And again, I think that I was definitely fed some hype about the ending, and that did probably affect my enjoyment of it because I kept building up to and waiting for this magnificent twist. And so it was a little bit of a letdown. So I don't think that that is enough to like deduct an entire point, but I do think that it's not a perfect book, and that in particular was disappointing for me. So instead of giving it a 5, this time around I'm giving it 4.5. I still love it. I'm glad I reread it. I'm gonna leave the rating alone on Goodreads, but it is a 4.5 in my head now. So that being said, I get to move on to Iron Flame, which is back there. Somewhere, right there. Hold on, let me get it. This one is a beast. It doesn't look like that much of a beast, but let's see. Let's get into some of the nitty gritty. Fourth Wing was 498 pages. Iron Flame is 623 pages. And the font is teeny tiny. Teeny tiny font. Even smaller than it was here. Do you see the difference? Am I crazy? It's smaller, okay? I'm not crazy, I swear. I don't know what to expect. I don't know whether I feel like this is gonna be better or equal to or worse. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I think the first time reading Fourth Wing, I hadn't read something like that in so long. So this might not feel like it hits the same way, but I'm going in with an open mind, open heart, ready to enjoy myself. As Gabby would say, watch the dragons dragon, because I love when the dragons are dragoning. I hope the dragons dragon. I'm scared, I'm nervous. So I'm gonna start that tonight, see how much progress I can make, and then we will chat about initial thoughts. It's happening. I read chapter 1. I will say it's reading super quickly. Apparently Violet just turned 21. Just a little reminder that she's an adult even though she doesn't feel like one. It seems that we are picking up exactly where we left off from book 1, like to a T. Obviously I've only read 1 chapter, but I do feel like, as much as I love like War College and that whole plot device of like training and all of that, sometimes there's a place and a time for that and it's enjoyable. But I do think, or at least I hope, that this is going to be a little bit more political just based on the plot right now. I think that we are going to get more politics, we're going to get more rebellion, we're going to get more war and political maneuvering, which that right there is all I need to make this a perfect series for me. Is just a little bit more politics. Because in the first book, there was some, but it was very minuscule. It was mainly just Violet trying to survive this college. So now I feel like we're gonna get more of the world itself, and I'm looking forward to that. So far, so good. 10 pages down, 680 more to go. Good morning, or should I say good afternoon? Because it's 2:30. 2:30. I'm very sorry. I feel like I've been sitting in this exact position this entire video, because I have been sitting in this exact position for 24 hours now. Oopsie daisy. I'm on coffee number 4, so that's how my day is going. I figured that I would update you on how much I did last night. It wasn't a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you, it was not a lot. I got 40 pages in. So I'm on chapter 5. I read 4 chapters of Iron Flame. I don't think I have that many thoughts yet because not a lot has happened. I'm already intrigued by where this is going. First of all, the relationship between Xaden and Violet, I feel like is taking a turn and I enjoy it. I think we all know that often in books, especially romances and fantasy romances, there are always bumps in the road and a lot of them don't make a lot of sense. In this case, the trials and tribulations that this relationship is going through actually make sense to me and they're enjoyable to witness. He is trying his best to be honest with her and open with her, but he has to keep certain things a secret. And she just wants to be told the truth. She just wants him to open up, to include her in what's going on and not to feel like she's being lied to all the time, because how can she trust him and have a relationship with him if she doesn't believe that he's telling the full truth? And that was pretty much proven in book 1 that he was keeping a lot from her. So now she's asking him to be open and he's having a hard time promising that. So they're kind of in this like stalemate. Xaden is like, I'm doing what I can. I'm doing as much as I can. I'm being as honest as I can, but I have to protect you and I have to keep things from you for the greater good. And yet I understand Violet's point of view because she's like, no, you don't. Just tell me what's going on. Okay, I can help. I can be quiet about it. You know, it doesn't have an easy solution or an easy answer. So I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying where I think the plot is going. I'm very interested to see where we go from here because we learned so much in the end of book 1 about the political maneuverings in this world and all the politicians, what they know, what they're keeping from the public, what they're keeping from Violet. Violet's mother is in charge. She's the commander, yet she seems to have been keeping a lot of secrets from Violet, which I think is another reason why Violet is just feeling like nobody's being honest with her in her life and she's frustrated, and I understand that completely. I'm definitely having a good time and I can't wait to sit down and dive back into this. Hold on. Surprise call from the little sis. Give me a sec. When Lily calls, I answer. Every time. No matter what. Forever. It's what you do when you're a big sister. Where was I? Anybody know? Anybody remember? I think I was saying that I'm enjoying this. I can't wait to get back into it. My plan for the rest of the day is to binge the crap out of this, and I'm pretty sure that I'm enjoying myself enough with it that I should be able to focus on it and not think about all of my to-do list things. I think there's some sprints happening later in a couple of hours, so maybe I'll log on to that, and for once I'll actually read during a sprint. Wouldn't that be a novel idea? Okay, I'm gonna get back to it. I promise you, the next time you see me, I will be in a different place than right here. Actually, I don't promise that. I probably will be exactly here. But you're not here for the scenery, you're here for the books, right? If this entire video is in this chair, I'm not sorry. You're seeing the real situation. Okay, I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go. Peace.
This town is quiet when it's late, yeah. This town is quiet when the night is getting close.
happy for him. Good morning, my dudes. So it's been a couple days since I picked this up. Believe it or not, I am still only 100 pages in, which is embarrassing, honestly, but I haven't read in like 3 days. Today, I have a very long to-do list, but I honestly can't do half of it until I get this video done, until I get this book read. So we're just gonna sit and read. And as God is my witness, if I can just focus and not fall asleep and not get distracted by other things like filming and editing and uploading and all of those things, I can get this done today. Is that a bold statement to make considering it's already 12:30? Probably. Probably. But like also aim high. You know what I mean? Aim high. I have another 500 and something pages to read. I made sure this morning that I got everything done that I could. I finished 2 thumbnails. I uploaded 2 videos. So those are ready to go. I finished the descriptions and all of that. I sat down and watched my sweet little Matt Rife with his first Netflix special. I had to support him. Before anything else happened today, I had to make sure that the algorithm knew that this house is a Matt Rife fan. It was good. It was great. I'm so proud of him. I feel like a proud mom because I've been like following him for like 2 years now, and I just like can't believe how far he's come after how hard he's worked for such a long time. He deserves this. He deserves everything. I have made a coffee. I have energy drinks on standby. I think I've knocked everything out of my way that I can in order to make this happen. I think. Like I said, as long as I don't fall asleep, that's like the only risk I'm at right now. But I have contingencies if that does start to happen. I have plans. I have plans. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We'll get there when we get there, if we get there. Hopefully we won't get there, okay? Gonna get started. I'm gonna stop procrastinating. It's happening. It's time. The dragons are gonna dragon. I'm ready for the dragons to dragon. Let's do it. Excuse me? Excuse me. Chapter 12? Excuse me? Y'all, I have had literally no updates because unfortunately, I am so bored. Things have taken a turn. I know that I said that things were looking good before. They're not. We are back at Basgiath. Now that I've listened to it on audiobook, one would think I would remember how to say it, but I don't. But we are back at the War College. Xaden and Violet have been separated because Xaden has graduated. So he is off at, I don't know, like a bunker or something fighting, or I don't even know if he's involved in the war, but he's just like off being an officer and a gentleman somewhere. Because of the bond between his dragon and Violet's dragon, they have to see each other regularly, but there is a rule that has been put in place, which I don't fully understand who did this or why, but he put this rule in place that they can only have leave once a week. So they can only see each other once a week, and it takes them like a day to even travel to each other. They get the weekend off, but like they really only have a day together. They've been separated, and what's going on at the college is just boring. Liam's sister is there as a first year, and Violet has been trying to help her survive, but at the same time, she freaking hates Violet. Hates her. She thinks she's the reason that her brother got killed. Hates her. She's being a little bitch. She tried to fight her. Like, there's all this shit, like, it's stupid. And then Violet is like so worried about lying to her friends because she doesn't think she can lie well. So she's basically just avoiding all of her friends. She's like going on runs with images. It's so boring. It's so boring. Like so boring. Also, when it comes to the college, I am telling you right now, maybe I'm just dumb, but every professor sounds and feels the exact same to me. I can't tell them apart. Every other page, it's like, then Professor blah, blah, blah comes in, and then Professor blah, blah, blah says this, and they all seem to be different characters, and yet I don't know how to tell them apart at all. I can't remember their names. I can't remember who is what, a professor of what, and who we like and who we don't like, and who we support and who we don't. It's driving me nuts. Also, I truly thought we were going to dive into the rebellion and the world a little bit more in the politics. I said that I think in like my last clip or two, that I was really excited because the school setting was fun for a time, but I was ready to see more of this rebellion and see more of this like infighting that seems to be happening and all the secrets that are being kept, and we are not doing that at all. I'm not gonna lie, I am bored, but chapter 12? We're getting steamy. Finally. Finally, we are getting steamy. Getting the content that I have been waiting for. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. If you know, you know. It is getting super steamy, but like it hasn't gone too far, which is delicious. Violet has just flown to where Xaden has been to visit for the day, for the weekend or whatever, so that their dragons can have their little dragon bonding situation taken care of. She comes in and she finds him in this like cage match, and she was turned on. He wins the fight and he comes off of this little match and they're alone, and she is like, I'm ready. She's like, I don't trust him. We're not together, but I can't keep my hands off him. She's basically giving herself to him, offering herself up, and he kisses her, but then he stops it. He says, I want you more than my next breath, but I can't fuck you into looking at me the way you used to. I refuse to use sex as a tool to get you back. Not when I want you here. And he points to her chest. I mean, how sweet. I mean, this is a far cry from the Xaden we saw in the last book, who was just like, we can have a sexual relationship, but we're keeping the emotions out of it, so deal with it. And now he's like, nope, unless you love me, really actually love me, we're not gonna be together. Like, how innocent is that? She's like, I can't trust him, I can't be with him, and he can see that she looks at him differently. And until she looks at him the same way again, he's done. And then he says to her, let me get this out. I'll kiss you whenever you want because my self-control is shit where you're involved. And she's like, whenever I want? And he's like, yes, whenever you want, because I'll live with my mouth attached to yours if I do it whenever I want. But I'm begging you, Violet, don't offer me your body unless you're offering me everything. I want you more than I want to fuck you. I want those 3 little words back. How sweet! This is the content I signed up for. I hope it continues because finally something interesting is happening. Hope that it keeps going. I'm not gonna lie, I was actually getting close to giving up and DNFing it, at least temporarily, because I was so bored. But I'm gonna keep going because we're finally getting some interesting developments, and we'll see if it lasts. We'll see if it continues. I will continue to update you if anything interesting or swoony happens. I'm getting nervous. I am. I'm not gonna lie. I'm getting nervous that this book is not going where I wanted it to, and aside from this little chapter, I'm bored. Oh, pray for me. Pray for me. Okay, I know I said I'm not having a good time. However, I'm trying to only update when things happen that I am enjoying, and I just need to give a quick shout out to our boy, Taryn, Violet's dragon, because he is just, he's the best. We have this Professor Varish, and he is a full-blown egotistical dick. Like, he sucks, right? He punished Violet for the fact that Andarna, one of her dragons, did not attend maneuver practice. She didn't attend because she's in the dreamless sleep, which nobody knows about. She is currently transitioning from like baby dragon to adult dragon, I guess, and literally can't participate right now. She's sleeping, literally. So Varish punishes Violet for Andarna not attending and basically makes her use her power until she is literally like incapacitated, like over and over and over again, burning her energy until she like basically is about to pass out. So now this is, I guess, a few weeks later, and Andarna still hasn't shown up because she's still in the dreamless sleep. So Varish is like, apparently you haven't learned your lesson. I'm going to send you for your punishment. And Taryn is like, no, you're not. No, you're not. He's like, no, no, you're not going to punish Violet. You're not going to touch her. Humans do not have any right to summon dragons. They don't answer to you. And decides to just attack Varish's dragon so aggressively, and he's so much bigger. And so Varish's dragon is like bleeding, like blood gushing. Taryn basically says, only a rider can be the vice commandant of Baskaya. Without a dragon, you are no rider. And Varish is like, fine, okay, she'll not pay the price for her dragon's refusal to attend. And he's like, not good enough. So he continues attacking his dragon until Varish agrees and is like, all right, fine. You're right. Humans have no authority to summon dragons. And Taryn's like, not good enough. Apologize. And he's basically forced to get onto his knees to apologize to Violet. And Violet's like, I don't need this, Taryn. Like, it's fine. I don't need apology. I'm just happy I'm not dying today. And Taryn's like, no, it is necessary to me, Silver One. I speak for Andarna while she is in the dreamless sleep. So Varish gets down on his knees and says, you have my most sincere apology, you and your dragon, both of your dragons. And Taryn finally lets go of Solace's neck, Varish's dragon's neck, and Varish is just furious. But Taryn's like, problem solved. He's adorable. He's so protective of Violet. I love that he calls her Silver One. I know that it's a dragon, but like, adorable. Adorable. I love him. I'm also very curious what's going to happen with Andarna because, like, I don't really fully understand why I guess they have to keep it a secret that she was actually a baby dragon when she bonded with Violet, and I don't really understand why, but I don't know what they're gonna do when she comes back from the dreamless sleep and she's like an adult now. Like, I don't know how they're gonna explain that. Doesn't really make any sense to me. That's the thing with this book, is nothing is really making any sense. I'm not quite sure what's going on with the rebellion. I'm not quite sure what Violet is researching. She's researching ways to put up the wards that they have because apparently the outside towns don't have the same wards and the government is refusing to acknowledge that they need protection. I don't really get it. I'm not even sure I'm understanding it, honestly. And maybe that's why I'm not enjoying it. The parts I am enjoying, anytime Xaden is there, anytime the dragons are there. And there's not enough of that right now. We did just have a pretty good scene with Xaden, but again, it was like 2 seconds. It's like he's there for like a few paragraphs and then he's gone again. And then he's there and then he's gone again. I don't love it. I don't love it. We're like 200 pages in now and things are not going the way I thought they would. And I'm sad about it. I have heard many mixed things about this book. I have heard people say that they DNF'd it, that it was boring. I get that. I've also heard people say they were screaming. And unless something changes, I don't get that. But I have heard that most of the oh my gods are toward the end. So unfortunately, it may be one of those things where I literally have to get to like the very last 100 pages or so to care and to understand what's going on. But it's so long that it's taking so long to get there. It's killing me. It is freaking killing me because literally I'm 200 pages in of a 600-page book and I really just don't feel invested at all unless Xaden is there or the dragons. We love us some Taryn. I'm gonna keep going. We'll see what happens. So one person that's been 100% MIA, which is a great thing, is Dane. Screw him. We do not support him in any way. But he's in the picture again. He is trying to get her to talk to him. He's like, we've been friends since you were 5. Like, you can't just ignore me. How long are you going to ignore me? And she's like, I'm going to ignore you until I don't feel like shoving my dagger in your chest. So then, POS that he decides, as the wing leader, since he has every right to challenge anyone he wants on the mats, he challenges Violet. So now, not only is he about to try and beat her up in some twisted effort to make her like him again, which I'm like, what are you thinking, man? But because he can read minds just by touching people, she has been working her ass off to make sure that her guard's up and that her shields are up so that nobody can get into her mind. And everybody, Imogen is like, no, don't do this. Bodhi is like, don't do this. Taryn's like, make sure you keep your shields up. But she has no choice. I have no choice. Let's do this. What is he thinking? If he wants her to be his friend again, you think beating her up is the way to go? That's your answer, bro? Seriously? Like, seriously? I just hope she's strong enough. I'm scared because I know she's been working hard. She seems to be able to keep everybody out of her head, but she hasn't really been tested. This could go awfully. But also it's the first time I'm like interested in more than just Xaden plot points, you know? Like, what the hell is he thinking? What is he thinking? He slams her into the ground and he's like, I just want to talk to you. And this is the way you do it? This is the way you do it. She's like, and I just want you to leave me the fuck alone. It was Violet's mom who scarred Xaden with the 107 slashes for the marked ones. Wow. There's no way my mother sliced into Xaden 107 times. I mean, have you not figured out by now that your mother is a bad person? How do I still have 7 hours left of this book? Like, I don't care. I feel like I've been reading this book for 16 years. It's taking all of my life force out of me. Like, all of it. Please tell me something's gonna change. Because I just can't. I can't, guys. I can't. I can't. If we cut to like 200 pages from now and I'm like living, laughing, and loving and dying, I'm sorry. All right? I'm sorry. I'm starting to think I can never turn this camera off. Because just as I was saying, I'm not having fun. The very next chapter, shit is hitting the fan. Xaden is visiting for their weekly conjugal. That's what I'm calling it now. They didn't call it that, I'm calling it that. And he's decided to let her in. He's gonna show her where he's been stealing the weapons from for the rebellion. And as they're walking there, good old Professor Varish and all of his assholery has cornered them. And apparently it is time for them to be kidnapped for interrogation training. All of her friends are there with their hands tied behind their back by professors. Like, what kind of fucking school is this? I don't care that it's a war college. You're really gonna torture your students and call it training? Like, she's supposed to go do this training, aka get tortured. And Xaden's like, absolutely not. She's on leave and recovering from an injury. You can't have her. You can't take her. And he puts up his wall of shadows, and Varish is like poking the shadows and wincing, and he's like, wow, this is fascinating. Like, shut up, Varish. Violet's like, you can't protect me from this any more than you could at threshing. You know it's true. And he goes, you weren't mine at threshing. Sweet boy. And then she's being a little bitch. She's like, well, I'm not yours now. Shut up, Violet. Just shut up. Just shut up. This is the most protective and sweet, charming man. Like, just let him protect you. So she says, I'll be fine, drop the barrier. And Varish is like, yeah, do listen to your little girlfriend. But Xaden is convinced that he is going to take this opportunity to, like, kill Violet for everything that happened between Violet's dragon and his dragon. Between Taryn defending her to Varish and now Xaden, like, this man is like, how come I can't get to this girl? Like, there's too many people just, like, protecting her. Varish says to Xaden, I hate to report that you disobeyed a direct order. Or worse, canceled her leave for next weekend. There's really nothing you can do here. And Violet's thinking, oh fuck, that is not the way to deal with Xaden. Ordering him around just makes him push that much harder, and separating Taryn and Sagel for 2 weeks is more than they can take. Oh, this is so dangerous. Okay. I'm gonna go for now. Hello. It's obviously the next day. Left you on a bit of a cliffhanger last night. I was just done. I was burnt. I thought I could do the whole thing in a day, but it was so slow moving that there was just no way. There was no way. But there were some things happening that were interesting me. Like, there were, like, seedlings of maybe the plot's about to move to a more interesting point. I decided to stick with it. I'm not DNFing. And I will say, I finally made it to part 2. I'm actually at chapter 40, page 371. So I feel like I'm finally making progress. I'm finally getting somewhere, and things are finally picking up. There's definitely a lot more happening now than there was in the first 2/3 of the book. I do feel a little bit better about it. I'm a little bit more excited to see what comes. First of all, we have a couple things we need to discuss. Number one, yet again, she was fooled into drinking this stupid liquid that separates her bond, and she was no longer able to communicate with Taryn. And then, stupid Varish decided to torture her for what seemed like forever. It was a very long chapter. She ends up finally disclosing what's going on to her friends, which thank God, because poor Ree, I felt so bad for her. They were all like, okay, like, what can we do to help? So they started researching together. They found out that there were journals, which apparently Sawyer or Riddick, I can't remember who, one of them knew they were there all along. Journals from the first 6, the original 6 who built the wards. So they figure out a way to break in and steal them, and somehow she gets caught. Nobody else, but she gets caught. Varish kidnaps her and takes her in to interrogation and basically tortures her, as well as brings Dane in to torture her. Things aren't going well. She is really hurt. And then Xaden comes in, the big love interest hero, and he has to see what happened to her. And ooh, it was a good scene. It was a good scene. As much as I am aware how toxic it is, I love a good torture scene, especially when it's the main character, and especially when the main character's love interest has to then see what happened to them see the aftermath, how broken and bruised and beaten they are. That hurt comfort thing is just, whew. They basically all escaped, and now they are back with Brennan where the secret rebellion is taking place. They brought like half of the riders with them, and they are setting up basically like a school just like Basquiat, I don't know. They're setting up a school just like their school, except they're going to talk about the real history, the real details of what happened. And Violet is trying to translate the journals to figure out how to set up these wards. And then suddenly Mira shows up. She basically was sent by their mother because their mother told her the truth. And Violet's like, what do you mean? She just told you the truth? Like, just like that? So after all this time and all this secrecy, apparently Violet's mother is just like, oh yeah, here's the truth. No problems. Okay. I don't know where this character arc came from, but okay. So Mira just discovered that Brennan is still alive. She's pissed, which absolutely rightfully so. She just clocked him right in the face. He's bleeding, and she's just furious. She's like, there is no family. There's me and Violet, and then there's you who let us think that you were dead, let us burn your things, let us watch our mother disappear into herself. It's pretty entertaining. It's pretty entertaining. Meanwhile, Violet is trying to translate this, and she told them, I guess in order to set up the wards, that the 6 have to bleed, which includes Xaden. I don't really know. I don't really understand. Am I dumb? Or is this book just not clear? It's like nothing's happening, but the things that are happening I'm not understanding. Not making me feel great, not gonna lie. Oh, and I forgot to mention, our sweet little Indarna has woken up, which, thank God. I was getting nervous because basically it had been longer than they thought that she had been asleep doing this transition. Taryn was sort of like, yeah, I don't know. None of the elders have seen anything like this before. It's taking her longer than most. We don't really know what's going on. She's finally awake. Taryn's like, yeah, but things didn't go according to plan. She doesn't know this yet, but apparently she can never hold a rider. I don't really know why, but it's very sad for her. But I'm glad she's back, and she's being a little bitchy, and I love it. I love her little voice. You know, Taryn is like, Silver One, we have to go. We have to do this. And then Indarna's like, let her be. And that's where I am. I'm on 371, but I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. And I'm in a different location. Are you proud of me? I'm not in the living room, and I'm not at the desk. Thank you. I'm really switching it up. Giving you some scenery. All right. I'm going to keep going. Peace. I am chilly. We need to talk. Kat is being a little bitch. She keeps like goading Violet. You know, you don't know him the way I do. And then Kat literally starts saying, does it bother you knowing he taught me first, that I had him first? She's really like twisting the knife. As much as Violet's like trying to pretend she doesn't care, she totally cares. Violet is already insecure when Kat says like, you're too short-sighted for him. He thinks ahead just like me. And of course, Violet's kind of taking that seriously, so she's upset. Then we get to chapter 48. And if I thought chapter 12 was something special, whew, I had no idea what was coming.
Oh my God.
I have said some negative things about this book, and I stand by them. However, Rebecca Yarros just did something I have never seen before. She managed to pull off a smutty scene that was from the point of view of the female, but we got to hear the inner monologue from Xaden. Through their connection, through their bond, she was able to hear how he was feeling and thinking while he was taking care of her. He's saying all these things, and I'm not going to read it all because and then she has a little petit mot, if you will. It was pretty spectacular. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Then he's like convincing her that like Kat was nothing. Can't even compare Kat and you. It's not comparable at all. And then he goes, who will drag her kicking and screaming if he has to, into a real relationship with real discussions because he refuses to lose her again. If I have to evolve, you do too. Which he's right. We're going to talk about our feelings. We're gonna be in a real relationship. That's what's happening. It's cute. It's cute, okay? It's cute. Now I'm like having a lot of fun with it. Energy has picked up tremendously. The pace has picked up tremendously. That's all well and good. That's great. I'm having so much fun now. But where was this energy in the beginning of the book? You know what I mean? The first half of this book was rough, but now I'm feeling excited about the second half. Very excited. So things are looking up, which is a good thing. I feel like this has been such a roller coaster. I feel so guilty that I've said so many negative things and now I'm saying positive things, which just goes to show it's not a perfect book. Because things are looking up, I'm hoping that this last little chunk is going to solidify a rating for me, because right now my brain is all over the place. So we finally have a bit of closure on the whole Dane thing. She doesn't forgive him, but she's beginning to trust him again because he stabbed Varish to save her. She asks for his help. He comes without question, and then he brings it up. Basically just like, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for my role that I played. I didn't mean to get anyone killed. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean to take your memories. At first it was an accident. I was just so used to touching you, blah, blah, blah. She doesn't forgive him because she's like, I can't look at you and think of Liam at the same time without being so angry. But she's like, if we never talk about this again, we can more or less move on. He agrees. And then he brings up Xaden, and she's like, you need to be very careful with what you're about to say. And he asks if she is in love with him. And he even says, he's like, after I heard the end of what he said in the interrogation chamber, I may be in love with him. But are you? And she's like, yes. And that's never going to change. And so Dane says, okay, then I'll trust him as much as you do. I'm actually really happy about this because Dane was so infuriating in the first book. And she even talks about it in this conversation, how he didn't trust her to make her own decisions and to know what was best for her. He kept trying to tell her that he knew better. Obviously, it came out of a place of love. He was worried about her. He was scared for her safety. He had just watched all of his friends in first year go through all of the horrible things, including literally dying. And he just couldn't face the idea of Violet going through the same thing. Plus, he was like, she's always wanted to be a scribe. I was just trying to help her get back to her original dream. And she was like, but I didn't need your help. And you didn't listen. You didn't listen to me when I told you I'm okay, I'm good, I want to stay here. He didn't listen. So he gets that now. That was my big issue with him. It wasn't that he was mean to Xaden or even really that he stole her memories. It was more that he just didn't trust her instincts. I like that we're addressing it head on. We're recognizing it. I mean, it's been a while. They could have done this way earlier, but tension, I get it. But I appreciate it. And I also appreciate that there's no triangle whatsoever. It's very clear that even though she's making up with him, it's not like, oh, but like maybe I'm starting to have feelings for him again. It's like, no, I'm in love with Xaden and that's never going to change. You can get on board and we can be friends, or you cannot and we won't. He agrees and that's it. Like now he's just like a friend in her corner again, which is like actually really sweet. I'm grateful that it's not taking the usual journey, the usual tropes that I feel like would have come into play with this relationship. Anyway, I think I'm gonna head to the bedroom because I'm chilly. I wanna cuddle up. I wanna curl up in bed. I'm tired. I have so much to do tomorrow that I think I wanna like start fresh in the morning. I wanna make sure I'm understanding everything. Like I wanna make sure that I'm like, see, I can't even like, my train of thought is just like, woo. I think I'm gonna start over. Not start over. I think I'm gonna finish this tomorrow because I do want to film my reactions to the ending, and right now I'm not in a state to do that at all. I feel like I've been reading this book for 2 weeks, which like I kind of have. Yikes. Yikes. But we're almost there. I can see the finish line. It's all the way over yonder, but we're getting there. Tomorrow morning, we are going to dive into like the last 100 pages or so and get into some final thoughts. Okay, good night. It's time to finish Iron Flame. I am on page 511, so I have literally, I think, 100 pages left to go. I'm not gonna lie, I take everything I said back. No, I don't. No, I don't. The first half of the book was boring, and I don't take that back. But the second half of the book, I'm having a lot of fun with. Like, a lot of fun. So shit is definitely hitting the fan. Violet just saved Kat's life because Solus, the big orange dragon from the beginning of the book, attacked them in a cave somehow. She saved Kat's life, even though Kat's a little bitch. Now Kat's like all nice to her. She's like, thank you, even though it like pains her to say, thank you for saving my life. And then Xaden comes back because he heard about what happened, finds Violet, and he's like, why do you keep throwing yourself in harm's way? Like, I don't care about the wards. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about Kat. Like, I just need you to be okay. It's very macho male overprotective, but it's also like kind of cute, you know? Kind of toxic, kind of cute. Kind of toxic and cute. Okay, we're at 5:11. I'm on chapter 55. Violet just brought up the fact that her mother told her about the agreement that her mother had with Xaden when she entered the quadrant. And she's been keeping it to herself that she knows about this, hasn't talked to Xaden about it, hasn't asked him about it. And she just brought it up, how they had like an agreement to like keep her alive. And now I think Violet's questioning like, is that why he's been protecting her and so kind to her? Which like at this point, do you not understand that he's obsessed with you, that he's in love with you, that he wants to be with you? Like, you really still have questions about that? You really still think he's doing this because of a deal he made with your mother? Like, come on, girl. Come on. But she finally brought it up. Xaden was like, oh, you're finally gonna ask me about the deal I made with your mother? So that's where we are. We have 100 pages to go. I'm getting nervous because I feel like we're at the point where like something tragic has to happen. We've had a couple of tragic things happen, but not enough to warrant some of the screaming reviews that I've seen where people are like freaking out and they're like, this broke me, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know how this is gonna break me, but I am freaking scared. At this point, the only thing I would say that could break me is if something happens to Taryn, if something happens to Andarna, which I think is likely or more likely than Taryn because Andarna's been going through it. She's trying to learn how to ride again with her new growth situation. She can't breathe fire yet, but Violet's like, she will, don't worry. And like, she's trying her best. She's trying her hardest. She's being like a little bitchy because everybody's like trying to protect her. And she's like, I can still fly. I can still participate. Leave me alone. It's giving me a lot of parallels to the way like Violet feels, where she's like, technically people could consider her less than because she's like a little bit different, built a little different. But at the same time, she's like, I am just as capable. I feel like Andarna like mirrors that in such a perfect way now that she's like gone through this transition, which is really sweet. But I'm also really nervous for her because I'm like, what if something happens to her? If something happens to her, that would literally break me. Also, if something happens to Xaden, obviously I will not move on ever. I wouldn't say it's out of the question because we all know that there have been books where the main love interest in the first two books is suddenly no longer the main love interest anymore. So like, that's a possibility, but also like, how dare they? If that's what they do, I will literally die. I'm hoping that's not the route it'll take, but it would be the most surprising. If something happened to Ree, or honestly even like Riddick or Sawyer, I would be very sad. Honestly, I'm kind of like behind Dane again, so I guess I would be sad if something happened to him, but not as sad. Is that bad? Is that rude of me? The only other thing that I could see being a possibility, but this wouldn't be a sad thing, this would be like the best thing ever. Like what happened with Liam broke me. And he's been brought up a couple of times in this book. First, when she was being tortured, he was like there basically acting as like her subconscious, sort of like trying to keep her alive, which was like, oh, it was heartbreaking. It was so cute because he was like, I got you, I'm here for you. She's like, please stay with me, but like it's just like the ghost of him, which is so sad. Then she just, when they were fighting this dragon, Solus, when she was like trying to protect or trying to save Kat and Darna in this cave, she ends up getting like knocked out for a minute. While she's knocked out, she like wakes up and she sees Liam's eyes. And I, for a minute, was like, wait a minute, is he alive? Because I would literally die. But then it turns out it was just Sloane. It was Sloane's eyes because she's his sister, so they're the same eyes, but like she's like, oh, never mind, it was just Sloane. But what if he comes back somehow? You can't rule it out. It's a fantasy. You can't rule anything out. Deaths are never final in fantasies, right? I would hate to see anything happen to her friends, to Xaden, or to her dragons. That would probably be the worst case scenario, but we're gonna see. We're gonna find out, and I will let you know all of my spoilery thoughts. Okay. Are on chapter 61, page 575. Officially closing in on the end. Not a lot happened that I felt like talking about, but at the same time so much was happening that I was like, I can't stop to film. I just want to know what's going to happen next. I just want to get to the ending. You know what I mean? We found out that Zayden, during that little argument the last I talked to you, I was talking about a little argument they were having. He just kept saying like, just ask me what you want to know, ask me your questions, blah, blah, blah. She finally did. She asked about the fact that her mother was the one that cut into him 107 times on his back. Like, what a bitch. She asked him about the fact that he's been lying to her about Brennan and all of these rebellion things. They were like, why are we having the same argument over and over again for 5 months now? But during that argument, she finally asked, what is his second signet? Which I didn't even realize he had. Maybe I missed it. Maybe this was something I was supposed to know. Apparently, when you bond with a dragon that your direct descendant was also bonded with, that means that either you have a second signet or you go insane. And she's like, you're not insane. You're not crazy. You don't seem crazy to me. So what's your second signet? His face pales and he's like, please, whatever you do, just don't ask me that. So obviously it was something dramatic and I was trying to figure out what it could possibly be. And it took him a while to reveal it. And he said something like, the minute I tell you, like, it'll take less than a minute for you to fall out of love with me. So she's like, how bad could it be? What could it possibly be? Apparently he can read intentions, like read minds, but really just intentions. And this is a signet that's like punishable by death. I'm not really sure the difference between what he can do and why that is like a death sentence compared to what Dane can do, because Dane literally reads minds and they use him for torturing and they use him and his signet for a bunch of things. So how come he's not being threatened with death, but Zayden is? I'm not really quite sure about that. Anybody know? But he finally told her, and of course, she was like, wait, what does that mean? Does that mean that he knew everything I ever felt and thought before I did it? He knew I wanted to kiss him back when I first kissed him. He knew that I was in love with him before I ever said it. How long has he been using this against me? This is such a dangerous signet, blah, 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 blah. But eventually she comes around and she's like, listen, I'm not going to report it. I'm not going to tell anyone. I'm not going to put you to death because I love you. Then she starts like asking him to use it for certain meetings they're in. She's like, okay, I know that we need to argue and talk about this later, but right now, can you just like use your powers to read their intentions in this war meeting? That kind of blows over fairly quickly. And then we find out that the wards at their college at Basgiath, I will never be able to say that right, at Basgiath, we find out that they are failing. And so they quickly fly back to Basgiath and everybody's like, they would have left us to die, but at the same time, we can't leave them to die. They're just defending their homeland. They don't understand like the full scope of what's going on. So they rush back there to help them. Brennan refuses to go. He's like, I don't really care about them. They are not worth saving, basically, which shots fired because his mom is there. But they rush back there without Brennan. And when they get there, they find Jack Barlow, who I don't know if I mentioned, but after him dying in book 1 at Violet's hand, apparently he was mended back to being alive. I'm not really sure how that's even possible, but somehow he was mended back to being alive. And when he first came back, everybody was like, oh my God, he's going to try and kill Violet, but he ends up saving her life at some point when she's like attacked in the archives. And he's like, now we're even, like, I had a second, like a rebirth, and so now I'm gonna like give that to you, and now we're even. She's like, I don't see how we're even. I killed him and then he saved my life, but okay. So he seems like he's normal. He seems like he's fine. He seems like he's like not a villain anymore. Like he's like changed his ways. But when they get back, they find out, no, he actually has turned venom. So he's gone to the dark side. He's gone to the dark side. So they have to fight him off. Then Brennan shows up. So his mother finally finds out that he's alive. He's like, I'm not here for you. He's like very angry with her, which like I get, but also that's your mom. Like I know she's like probably the worst person ever considering everything she's done to Zayden and to their people, and she keeps using the excuse of I'd do anything to protect my kids. She says to Violet, when you're a mother, you'll understand. You will sacrifice anyone to protect your children, which that's an interesting justification, but all right. That's where we are now. Brennan is here and they are about to like straight up go to battle. This is like the end of the end, you know? We're about to go into battle and I am pretty nervous, not gonna lie to you. I literally only have 6 chapters left. So I will film my reaction, and if I need to update you, I will, I promise. We're in the finish line, finally. I've been reading this book for 10 days. I don't want to talk about it. 10 days. I've done a lot of things in between, but 10 days, that's a lot of days. Too many days. So it's happening. It's finally happening. I feel like every update I've had in the last like 3 days has been, okay, it's time, I'm gonna finish it, and then I don't finish it. But this time I really, really promise, I swear I'm gonna finish it. I promise, okay? Oh my God, drama. They've been in this like giant battle in the air. She thinks that Rhiannon's gonna die, but then Rhiannon she's able to save, and then Sawyer gets attacked and she's able to save him. And now Kat is like, wow, that was really brave of you, and like Kat's on her side, and all of a sudden she turns around, there's a Venom there. This girl, this Venom, whatever, this evil person thing, entity, being, whatever, is like, I was under strict orders not to kill you. What does that mean? What does that mean? She says you'll be so much fun for him to wield. Who is him? Am I supposed to see what's coming? Because I don't. Like, who is it? No. They keep saying him, he, I'll be rewarded for delivering you to him. Who is him? And Darna to the rescue. Violet's like, you looked like part of the cliff. And she's like, I told you I could hide. Love her. Oh, no. Jessenia is running through the middle of this fight. Why am I worried for her? Poor Sawyer lost his leg. So Violet thinks she can get the ward up. Apparently there was a difference in the 2 journals that she read. One said 6 and the other said 7. And it's supposedly the 6 dragons. There's 6 types of dragons. But now she thinks it's a 7, not a 6, because that's what Jessenia translated it to. Does that mean there's a 7th dragon? Why do I feel like this has to do with Indarna? Is Indarna like a 7th type of dragon out there? Ooh. Ooh, that's my prediction. Okay, I was right. I literally said this. Everything Indarna's going through, being like weaker and different and unique and feeling like she's not the same as all the other dragons, I literally said it was like mirroring the way Violet has always felt, being slightly different than everyone around her. And it's true. She's like, I waited 650 years to hatch, waited until your 18th summer when I heard our elders talk of the girl forecasted to become the head of the scribes, and I knew. You would have the mind of a scribe and the heart of a rider. You would be mine. You are as unique as I am. We want the same things. And Violet goes, you are not a black dragon or any of the 6 that we know of. You are 7th. And she's like, yep, I knew it. I called it. I called it. It took me a while, but I called it. But this is making me nervous now, because if she's the 7th that they need to like put up these wards or whatever, does she have to die to do it? Oh my God, if she dies, y'all, I won't survive it. Is that better lighting? I'm sorry, this lighting sucks. Okay, let's keep going. We're on 610. This is all that's left. Now Violet's doing like the goodbyes. She's like telling Taryn and Indarna, you have to both live. Promise you'll choose to live. And she says, because I'm starting to realize the price of imbuing this wardstone in time to save everyone I love. It's my life. Is Violet gonna die? I didn't even contemplate that. I mean, I guess it's possible, but this is a 5-book series and we're going to kill the main character in book 2? Is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing? Or is she just being dramatic? She's probably just being dramatic. Taryn and Darna are like begging her. They're like, please, you have to stop. You have to stop. Oh my God, her mom just like kicked her across the room. Oh my God, what is happening? Oh my God. Oh my God, she just opened her shields to Xaden and all she feels is pain and she thinks he's dying. Good Lord. Oh, I understand. Oh my God. So Sloane is a siphon. Violet's mom is trying to convince Sloane to take all of her power, which will basically kill her. And she's convincing her by saying like, I killed your parents in an execution. I made you watch. I could have saved Liam too if I had paid more attention. Like there's a million reasons. Meanwhile, Violet's like, no, like she's my mom. Please, please don't do this. And Brennan's like, honestly, if it's between your life and our mom's life, I choose yours. Oh my God. Oh my God, oh my God. This is not going well. Her mom goes, everything was to get you to this moment when you'd be strong enough. Oh my God. Honestly, like, I'm not a huge fan of the mom, so kind of don't mind that this is happening. I am worried about Xaden though. Okay, I don't care that the mom's dead, but their reactions are really sad. Even though Brennan's been so mean to her this whole book, she like collapsed into his lap and she's gone and he's just like, Mom, his face crumpling as he looks down at her. Oh God, okay, Xaden's okay. Whew. I should have seen this coming, that the mom was gonna like have a character redemption in this book and then end up sacrificing herself. There's been too much of her suddenly doing the right thing after last book where she was just the worst. I should have seen it coming. So the wards are back up and the wyvern are literally falling from the sky dead. The Venom panicked and ran. They did it. They did it. Okay, but also there's only 2 chapters left. This seems pretty neatly wrapped up in a bow. something's gonna go wrong. Bodies have been dropping all over the kingdom. She's like, there's no chance leadership can hide this. It's only a matter of time for every Navarian citizen knows they've been lied to. About time, honestly. What? What's out there that I should be so scared of, Xaden? What did he tell you? What did you see? Me, he whispers, a faint, almost indistinguishable red ring emanating from his gold-flecked onyx irises. You should be scared of me. Oh my god, did he turn venom? How? Oh, Jesus. Jesus. Oh my god, it's the final chapter. And it's from Xaden's point of view. Guys. So this is his perspective of what was going on while Violet was putting up the wards. Come on, Shadow Wielder, turn. It's the only way to save her. Okay then. I need to give this some thought. I'll check back in with you in a little while with some final thoughts once I get my thoughts in order. Alright, so it has been several days since I finished this. Several. Because I really, truly needed some time to digest, to process, to understand my thoughts and feelings. And I still don't know that I understand, honestly. I have so many questions. The biggest one being, is it possible to rate a book 2 ratings? Because I am telling you right now, part 1, if I was rating based on part 1 alone, this would be 2 stars. 2. And if I'm rating based on part 2, 5 stars. So what does that mean? Where does that leave me? Maybe if we talk it out, I will come up with an answer for you. So let's chat. That ending, while it did remind me of certain pieces of the Sarah J. Maas universe as well as the Leigh Bardugo universe, it wasn't brand new, it wasn't original, but it still got me. It still got me. I am emotion, okay? Straight emotion. I don't know where we go from here. I don't know how I'm supposed to wait to find out, because from what I understand, book 3 hasn't even begun to be drafted. So after giving us 2 books this year, back to back, we're now gonna have to wait how long? A year or more, probably? Yikes. My sweet Xaden, I have so many questions. Number 1, how long has he been venom? Did he just turn during that final scene? Or has this been coming for a long time? Because if you remember, he kept saying, they're waiting for me, they're tethered to me, and Violet was trying to ask, what does that mean? And he didn't answer her. He said something about knowing what they were waiting for. She's like, well, why do you know what they want? And he's like, please don't ask me that question. Like, was he already part of it? Part of the venom situation? Thoughts? Theories? Feelings? I don't know. I am very nervous where this leaves us because I feel like, knowing Xaden, he's not going to just try and fight it. He's probably, in order to protect Violet, he's probably gonna leave, right? He's probably gonna disappear and fuck off because he's scared and he doesn't want to hurt her. So I'm a little bit nervous that this next book, they're gonna be separated the entire time. And I'm not going to love that because I don't know if you could tell from my reaction to this book, but I pretty much only cared to share my feelings when the 2 of them were involved in a scene together. So that's pretty much all I'm reading these books for, is them and their relationship, toxic as it may be, okay? 2 of my favorite lines that I didn't even mention when they happened, and looking back, I'm like, how did I not even go into detail on this? Number 1, less than a minute. If you know, you know. Whew, that was intense. Number 2, my house, my chair, my woman. Am I blushing? Because I feel like I'm blushing. Those 2 lines between Xaden and Violet, some of my favorite. Some of my favorite. One other line that really, really killed it. Kat makes some comment to Violet saying, you know that trick Xaden does with his fingers? I taught him that. Which is like, oof, like, don't be such a bitch. Don't be such a bitch. But then she gets the best redemption ever because she then later in the book says, hey Kat, that trick you mentioned with the fingers, Thanks. She is just, that's my girl. That's my girl. That's my girl. Also, one of the intros to the chapters, I don't always read those, so I missed it, but one of them, it said recovered correspondence from Zayden Ryerson to Violet Sorrengail. Recovered correspondence. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but that to me sounds like this is post-mortem when they recovered this. I could be reading too much into it, but a lot of people online felt the same way. Another thought I had, and I think a lot of people I have seen online now also share this theory. We keep talking about the Venin having a leader, and they keep referring to him as he, and they keep saying that he wants Violet, that they have to keep Violet alive because he wants her. What if it's her dad? I have thought that her dad might still be out there somewhere. I've also thought that Zayden's dad might be out there somewhere, but I saw somebody say online, what if her father did so much research into the Venin that he somehow turned into one? And that kind of makes sense. Kind of makes sense. I don't really fully follow that thought process through to like, well, why is he attacking them? And like, what does he actually want? But it's a possibility, right? It's definitely a possibility. Predictions for the next book. I think that we are going to find out about Violet's extra signet. I think that we are going to have some separation between Zayden and Violet while dealing with the Venin of it all. I think we're gonna have some more depth because surprisingly, we got out unscathed in this one. I mean, we did lose the mother and that was sad for a minute, but nobody that we've grown fond of in the same way we did in book 1 with Liam. That was rough. That was difficult. I think we're probably headed toward a world of pain in book 3, but we're gonna have to wait a really long time to find out. So this book was an absolute roller coaster. I really do consider it 2 separate books. Part 1 was a train wreck. The pacing was so off. World building was so unclear. There was such a lack of time spent on things that really needed more attention and more fleshing out. And then on the other hand, it felt like it dragged on forever. So I feel like we were focusing on the wrong things. Part 2, it was chaotic. It was definitely at a breakneck speed. It definitely could have benefited from a little bit more time spent with certain things, just like part 1, but it had to fit in a lot. It fit in a lot. Those are my thoughts. I need to rate this book, right? I think what I'm gonna do, as much as it pains me, I'm gonna split the difference. I'm gonna give it a 3. I'm gonna give it 3 stars. It hurts me because I really loved part 2, but I can't say that I loved this book. I just can't. I can't. Oh, please don't hate me. If any of you are obsessed, please don't hate me, okay? This is as fair as I possibly can be. Did I have a good time? In the second half I did. The first half I did not, and I'm not gonna lie about that. And I'm not gonna forget about it just because the second half redeemed it. I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with 3 stars. That's rough. That's rough. Rebecca, I'm sorry. Fourth Wing fans, I'm sorry. But that's it. That's done. This has taken up so much of my brain power over the last 2 weeks. I cannot tell you how relieved I am to be moving on from this world. If you made it this far into the video, leave a dragon emoji in the comments down below. I know that's pretty on point, but listen, I'm not feeling very creative today, okay? Leave a dragon emoji in the comments down below. I am so grateful to any of you who took this journey with me because I know this is a long video, so I'm so grateful if you made it this far. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for supporting me through this endeavor. I hope I didn't offend too many people. I hope I didn't frighten too many people with some of my smuttier feelings. I hope my family's not watching. And that's it. That is the end. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon. Hopefully. Bye.
There's heat, there's flames, there's lava. Volcanic, what can we do? It gets manic. I know what I'd rather. When I pick up the mic, it's power. When I pick up the mic, got powers. When I pick up the mic, it's power. When I pick up the mic, got powers. 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 4, 3, 2 in the morning. Yeah, I'm still up, you're boring. Life keeps getting better.